living in a dream. One swimming up, one swimming downstream. The Pisces life, the Pisces life. Two fish living in a dream. One swimming up, one swimming downstream. The Pisces life, 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 the Pisces life.
Welcome to the 156th episode of the Pisces Life Podcast. Now, let me apologize. I'm so sorry. My internal clock of recording has been a little off, so I've been like an episode or so behind, but the show notes is always right. Thank you to my good sis. I am JustLetitia, writer, podcaster, and storyteller. And on the other microphone is my sister.
It is I, Kai Love. What am I? A podcaster, poet, singer-songwriter, storyteller. Good evening, y'all, and good morning, and good afternoon, because, you know, it all depends on when you're tuning in. How y'all doing?
Oh, Lord, sis, it's so much happening in the news. Everything that we are dealing with right now. First of all, our hearts are with our listeners in Texas. As you know, the area has seen a widespread devastation to homes, businesses. People have lost their lives due to the freezing temperatures. There have been reports, sis, of people literally freezing to death right on the sidewalks in Texas. Have mercy. Mm-hmm. And we want to let you know that we love a good joke just like anybody else, but this really is no laughing matter.
Yeah.
Texas is not in the position to handle any type of weather like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Each of us are in Michigan, Chicago, Detroit areas, respectively.
Mm-hmm.
And we're used to this. We know when it snows, you know, get your stuff in the house, get your snow plow together. Make sure you got that together, the shovel, whatever you need.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Our houses, our construction of homes are totally different in terms of materials used, materials required. In Michigan, a siren go off, sis, we go to the basement, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
In the South, a lot of homes, most homes, don't even come with basements.
Not only no basements or the appropriate foundation to secure the house to the ground.
Right.
So
they usually pour a concrete slab.
Yes.
And set the house on top of it, you know.
Yes.
Our hearts are with those who are in Texas. Everybody except Ted Cruz. We're still kind of pissed off at you. There's no reason for you to take your tail, Teddy Cancun, as I call him, to doggone it all Mexico, in the middle of one of the biggest disasters that Texas has seen. Sis, woo, sis.
Don't even get me started on that person. I wish, sis, I could say that I was shocked and appalled by the audacity. But no, ma'am. It seems as if those who belong in that party have no soul, no accountability, lack morality. It's just, you know, they get to do whatever it is what they want to do. And regardless of the fact that he was caught, and regardless of the fact that any spin that he did coming back, it's not going to matter, because there are people who are still going to vote for him. There are people who are still going to support that other party. There are people yet even today who are even in the walls of our Congress stating that the current elected president of the United States has an asterisk by his election.
Right.
So I'm just not even going to give them any more of my breath today. I just want to send my love out to all the people in Texas. I have family in Texas. Some of my good friends are down in the Houston area. And I just want everyone to be okay. I am certainly looking forward to those temperatures rising up and ensuring that those people get back to whatever level of normalcy and new normalcy they had in their lives dealing with this COVID situation. So our hearts are with you, certainly. And
absolutely.
We hope that you recover well. Thank goodness that our current president did declare Texas a state of emergency.
Yes, he did.
And has sent appropriate resources to assist the folks in getting back on their feet.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate that. So, speaking of our United States of Americas, we just need to bring this very solace fact to your attention that at the time of this podcast recording, the United States of America has reached 500,000 deaths due to coronavirus. Sis, this is a once in a century type of event. And at this time, we're up to 7, count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. New variants of the coronavirus. 7 new variants of the coronavirus.
Sis, it's scary out here. This virus does not die. It multiplies.
It does.
Can we get you to understand that? It's crazy. But you're absolutely right. We are up to 7 new variants in the U.S. since July of 2020. This information comes from abc.com. The 7 new variants have been named after birds, sis. This is new. This is a switch since some of the variants before were named by locations. There are those in the press who decided that that was a stigma being associated with a certain area. So they have switched it up to naming the variants after the birds. So here's the current list. Robin number 1 predominates in the Midwest. Okay, first detected in August, but it is found in over 30 U.S. states. Robin number 2. First found in samples collected in early October in Alabama. This is common in the Southeast. The pelican, first detected in Oregon in late October, but it's been found in 12 other states. And it's also been popping up in Australia, Denmark, India, and Switzerland. There's the yellowhammer, which like Robin 2 is most common in the southeastern U.S. It first appeared in a sample from late November. Bluebird, which first appeared in August, is the most common in the Northeast. Quail, which is most commonly appears in the opposing corners of the U.S., the Northeast and the Southwest. This was first detected in October. And then last but not least, the mockingbird, which is first found in late November and prevalent in the South Central U.S. as well as along the East Coast. I think that we share this information with you because it is going to be important for you to know what variants are in your area, especially as we continue to wait for vaccinations to catch up. Whatever vaccination you decide to get, whether it's the 1 dose required or the 2-dose vaccine that's required, because there are several different kinds that you can get. We want to encourage you to do your homework. If you are not in your homes, you need to wear your masks. Do not gather in large gatherings. I know you've been in the house. We've really been in the house. We really have. Kai and I both have been doing really well with the quarantine, although we're both itching to go somewhere.
For sure.
I want to go somewhere and I don't want to be worried about going.
For sure. For sure. It is so vitally important that even if you've been vaccinated, that you still adhere to the safety precautions, because we know that people have been catching different variants of coronavirus, the same variant of coronavirus twice or more. There's still just so much that we're learning about this virus that you just can't take anything for granted. We want you to remain safe.
Yes.
We want you and your loved ones to remain safe.
Yes.
We understand it's so important for us to get back to each other. I miss y'all. I'm a performer. I'm a wanderlust. I miss all my people. I want to hug my sis. We got back together and we couldn't even get together. You know what I mean? So, so we are proponents of us getting back out in the world. No one of us wants to just remain reclusive. We know that some of y'all are like, we ain't going back outside, never. no more. we understand that some of y'all are saying that, but we do require the opportunity to move about, not only among ourselves, but just with ourselves, if that's what you choose to do. Mm-hmm. And in order for us to get back there, we have to collectively stay the course. Just protect yourself. Wear your mask. Use your hand sanitizer. Ensure that you're disinfecting your areas. I have a whole routine. Yes. If I have to go someplace, I disinfect myself and the wheel of my car, the steering wheel that is, and the gear shift, and anything that I think that I'm going to touch necessarily and unnecessarily, because when your mind wandering and the sun is in your eye, even though it's right. Snow-covered hills, you're transformed into a place where you're like, ooh, cruising. It feels good to be outside. Sometimes you lose sight of yourself. So yes. I just try to ensure that I'm doing my best job, that as I move about in the world to the places and spaces I have to go, which are limited, right. that I am conscientious and ensuring that I'm not bringing anything back into my household. So we'll move on.
It's essential this way. Keep it essential. Keep it essential.
Keep it essential. Yes,
please. Sis. Keep it essential.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Keep
it essential. Yes. In all facets of your life. Of your life. On Dr. Fossey.
I'm telling you, I want to get back to French kissing one day. I really do. But but with this coronavirus, I don't want to peck on the cheek right about now, but I likes the French kiss. I likes to kiss the French way.
The French way. Oui.
Yes. Hey. Well, we shall move on. Sis, this next story was close to unbelievable. I said the brother must have been straight up high when he decided, you know what, this is going to be a good idea. But we are talking about Columbia University professor Carl Hart. He is a professor of psychology and neuroscience. He chairs the psych department and has a fondness for, wait for it, heroin, the drug, not only as a subject of scholarly pursuit, but also as a substance for personal use. You heard me correctly. The brother says he uses heroin as a way to cope with work-life balance. He is a 54-year-old married father of 3 who has snorted small amounts of heroin for as many as 10 days in a row and enjoyed it mightily. His words. Even if, as he recalls in his new book, Drug Use for Grown-Ups, Chasing Liberty in the Land of Fear, available from Penguin Press, he's experienced mild withdrawal symptoms 12 to 16 hours after the last dose. Now, let me say this. We here at the Pisces Life, we encourage you to do what is healthy for you and what is also legal. We really encourage that. We understand that cannabis, i.e. Mary Jane, i.e. that ooh-wee smoke, is approved for medicinal as well as recreational purposes.
Ooh-wee.
Ooh-wee. In both Chicago and in Michigan, Detroit, Illinois. Did we cover it all? Yes, we did. It is available, but this brother is on something else. Sis, I couldn't believe it. He's on a world tour with this news and insight, by the way, let me tell you.
Sis, when I saw this brother pop up in my news feed, I could not believe. I was like, sis, I shot it to you in your inbox. Right? Like, sis, no, sis. Say it ain't so, sis.
We didn't want to believe it.
Not with the feds watching, sis. Last time I checked, heroin was not on the approved medicinal utilization schedule. I was a bit confused, and so of course I dug deeper because I said, oh, it's got to be something, because one of the things that we know and what's so devastating about being addicted to heroin is that withdrawal, is that physical sickness and illness that one cannot manage or deal with that requires them to run back to said drug. So when brother said, I've been known to experience withdrawal from time to time, I'm like, what you doing? So I dug deep in the story, and it said that because he understands how the brain and the body works with withdrawal, he's able to take another drug to make him fall asleep, which helps him through the withdrawal. So then when he wakes up, all he is a little hot and need a sandwich or something, And
my.
and I am so very confused because after I read it, I'm like, sir, you are addicted to heroin. And I don't know. Again, I don't know. For those who smoke the weed and participate in other types of medicinal herbage and serums and tinctures and tonics to help to manage whatever.
We managing a lot.
You're managing a lot. 2020 in itself, and even 2021. 2021 didn't start necessarily all so sunny, okay? So I understand that people require what they require. But bruh sound like a heroin addicted professor. And just because you functional with it, maybe it's because you got more access to it. He the chair of of his department. He earning good educational dollar, top educational dollar. That's why he's writing books.
Oh yeah.
That's why he's writing books, baby, to support the habits of sorts. And again, we said this in a previous episode. If you gonna spring something forward, now is the time to do it. So he felt like he was in his bag.
He said, here it is.
Here it is. Let me just say, and maybe he about to start a revolution. Says, I don't know. I just don't want to see any more heroin addicts than necessary. Like, I just do not want to do it. And I think it's setting us up for a lot of failure because we don't have the resources, the mental health support to help people who are addicted to this drug right now. The methadone clinic. You want to see something sad? Ooh. Sit outside of a methadone clinic. And it will break your heart. It will break your heart to see the condition of these people. So I kind of find it slightly irresponsible.
Yes, let me be real clear too. I always said, having worked in academia, having been a PhD student in academia, I was very surprised. They better not never start drug testing up in the university system because you would not have anybody to teach. And that does include some of the lingering attitudes, although marijuana and cannabis are now legal, recreational as well as medicinal. There are still some issues surrounding and stigma socially surrounding that, which brings me to the point of why, because I, like you, sis, I got to digging deeper. I got to cross-reference and let me look at this brother's stuff. Where is he published? I mean, he's quite a well-known, sought-after researcher in this work. But his reason for coming clean about doing opiates, and this comes from lovebscott.com. This is where the article where we got it from. He said the reason why he came clean is because he wants to be an advocate for decriminalizing possession of recreational drugs. Now, here's news to me, sis. I didn't consider heroin recreational. I considered that one of the big doozy-oosies. Now, I remember watching Frank Lucas in his documentary, American Gangsters, as well as the movie where Frank Lucas was characterized by the great and still sexy and ever fine Denzel Washington, American Gangster by the same name. That possession and that withdrawal of the drug was vicious. I've also seen Mahogany. I've seen Mahogany, Richard Pryor's character who shot up and died. That is a very powerful drug, you know? And his logic behind this, if people are going to indulge, at least indulge safely. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I know in one of the states out west, it's either Portland, Oregon, I believe, they decriminalize all of it. Coke, heroin, everything. Just decriminalized all. Now, I don't know how that's going for them, but this is not an uncommon call. He's just a professor that's talking about it and admitting that he does it. I just get nervous that one day somebody gonna set him up now. You know, how you better have a tight source for your habit, because you really can't trust the streets with this, you know.
Correct. Like, how are you getting your drugs? Are they lab created? Like, I was like thinking to myself, maybe he's created a lab version of heroin versus
maybe.
And that is the introduction, is that this is a designer drug, and that we don't have to, do the dirty, burnt up spoon, needle on belt situation.
Okay. Oh, God, I'm laughing, sis, not at the situation, but it just took me back to when Nino Brown was in New Jack City making crack.
Yes.
That's what it took me to. He said, we're going to take over the Carter. We're going to take the Carter over. We're going to get in the Starship Enterprise and beam folks up right here. We're going to take over the Carter. I don't want that to happen to another neighborhood. We cannot have heroin make it a big thing back. We cannot.
It's already a big thing in a lot of neighborhoods, and not just the Black ones. And this is where my issue is the brother then came out and said he does heroin. Mm-hmm. I believe, because, we've been around for a while. We've seen how situations and circumstances manifest themselves when you are the right color.
Yes.
Or the wrong color.
Uh-oh.
And so I am actually fearful for this brother, because I feel like in 2 years, we're going to be getting the Netflix story about this brother.
Girl.
And he going to be somewhere up in Rikers or something. And we're not going to be able to find him no more, because the powers that be didn't locked him away, and because he's protecting, other folks. He has knowledge about other folks who are recreationally using heroin, which of course I've never even heard that as a phrase together. Yes. I've never heard of a recreational heroin user. I am just outdone. I wish my college professor, God bless his soul, Dr. Durant, was still here. Dr. Durant from Illinois. He's originally from Jamaica, but Illinois. The reason why he became a professor in the Human Services Division and had a specialization in addiction studies was because he was a former addict himself. But he was addicted to cocaine. But I got off of it and, dedicated his life to teaching people how to deal with people who did it. and got addicted. And I would be so interested to have a conversation with him about this. Like this, I am interested in the academia point of view. Like, what is the rest of the academics saying? Because, us, Twitter generation, Facebook generation, podcast generation, we all talking about it. But what is his peers saying about him now that have they known? Are they part of the test group, child? We don't even know.
Now, today's staff meeting, we gonna hand out a little smack. Take it if you can handle it. Okay. We don't want nobody falling out, foaming at the mouth and whatnot.
Sis would be like, Janice, we saw what happened with you with crack. We not know. You is cut off. You only can drink wine. You cannot have any of these recreational drugs. Okay?
None for you.
None for you. No. Mm-mm.
You are kicked out of the research study, and you know why. And you know why. Okay? We said light crack use. You took it to the whole. We said one hit a day. You wrapped around your mouth. You
pushing the limits.
You pushing the limits. Okay.
Just this is what research is about. This is what research is about. That's why I had to push the limits.
Girl, let me tell you, some research you don't need to volunteer for. Okay.
Come on, keep yourself clean, y'all. My word. You know, we're making light of the situation.
We are, because it's so I mean, now listen, sis, I'm not gonna lie. Here's my confession.
Okay.
There was a time now in grad school when I was a TA and defending my dissertation.
Yes.
I might have had a happy hour one morning. I might have.
Yes, you might have.
But you know what? I wouldn't set my ass in my office and shut up. I wasn't around. I'm here, but I'm also unavailable at the same time. This is happening asynchronously.
Exactly.
That's at the same time.
That's when them blinds go like this. Close.
You look for me
today.
I'm at lunch, laid down in the car. Okay, yes. I'm in the back seat of my own car, curled up in a blanket. Called recovery.
Yes, trying to pull it together. I'm very interested in what happens going forward with this story, and we are going to keep our eyes to the streets and see what the good brother gonna end up doing.
I'm telling you, I just hope it ain't jail. You don't want to be in jail right now.
I promise you, there's something else to the story. So
there is got to be. I'm scared for the brother. And you know, I was like, sis, he a department chair. You know, white folks don't like for us to be department chairs in academia. No kind of way.
Sis, you know, the first thing I said was, first of all, brother,
Karen gonna tell on you.
This is not helpful for the rest of us who have shared desires. It's not me. I talk a bit much. I talk a bit much in the staff meetings, and they don't want me to stay in the structure. The structure is a bit much for a sister. I can't hold my inequity tone down. It rises up, and before I can pull it back, and I can say something, you know.
Oh yeah, I know the feeling.
I'm gonna stay on the adjunct guest speaker,
right? Guest speaker
tour.
Visiting.
I will come over and drop a knowledge, and then ride on out of there. You ain't gotta worry about me no more. So yeah, we'll just keep on watching it, and
it's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be interesting. It is certainly going to be interesting.
This brother blew my mind.
Yes.
Well, sis, we got one last issue to swim on by, and this is about us, specifically music by us. Now, sis, you're a performing artist with 2 albums, your latest being Curl Pattern.
Yes.
And you did your EP with my one jam, Energy. Oh, y'all gotta go. That song still sends me. I just love it. Because you could just, every time I'm getting hyped. This is not a record review. Let me stick with it. But your latest album was Curl Pattern out.
Yes.
And so you found this article on Instagram and hit us up with it. So I want you to take us through it. This was a website I hadn't heard about, theblackjuice.com.
I know.
Now, remind you, you need to be real specific. Because if you're looking for, Google is quite handy with.
Absolutely. I saw the title first, and then I clicked into it, and I was like, we might need to delete this one because we don't want the baby running up on us in his searches. Yeah. So writer Tay Jordan from this online publication called The Black Juice wrote this article. Am I tripping? Or are new era rappers sexually soliciting our youth?
Ooh.
Now,
and it's 2 pictures up here, sis. We got to tell them who the 2 pictures are.
So the 2 pictures is Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion. And, they're all colorful and, looking provocative. And it's interesting. this conversation, because me and the good sis Letitia, we had this conversation about music, about listening to music for pleasure and wanting to be inspired. And it's difficult to listen to today's R&B or soul without, and definitely hip hop, without getting like the sex like slapped in your face. And we good and grown. We've been, having the Dewey flower dewied.
Okay.
And blossomed for many years. So we are not new to this. We are true to this.
Okay. All right.
But we talk about is this the trend because of the internet and access and all of that? And what does that mean for our young people? So the writer says in the article, and I quote, "It's the year 2021, and sexualization is just as much a lucrative strategy as it was in yesteryear, if not more, with the added accessibility that social media offers. Sex is everywhere, even the fingertips of our young people, no matter how closely we try to keep the influences of devils away from our impressionable children. The potential harm that the frequent provocative visuals and lyrics is what I want to discuss." And she does discuss it in depth in her article. She said, "Full disclaimer, my views will not always come off as politically correct as some would like, but I will always tell my perspective, which is my truth." She further says, "From my perspective, it appears that it is an apparent agenda to push promiscuous behavior, homosexuality, and provocation into the lens and ear gates of the youth, which will prove to be detrimental to our community the most." And by our community, I think she was speaking about the Black community, and maybe indirectly the brown community. Now, sis, I got a lot to say on this, sis. What are your thoughts?
I'm tired of twerking. I'm ready for Twerk Nation to retire. And even as I say that, my left knee still hurts me from back in 1997, I do believe, in Detroit Warehouse nightclub. Yeah. One night the DJ said, "It's time for the percolator."
Come on.
It's time for the percolator.
Because when it's time for the percolator,
you got to percolate.
You just have to percolate.
Okay? And it's the percolation.
It's time for percolate.
It's time for percolate. That used to be my jam. You put that on, baby, I'm percolating. And, I don't know if it was under the kneecap, around the back of it. I don't know. But this knee right here, I can't percolate no more. And I'm not jealous of people that can twerk. I'm not jealous of people with a big booty. I got one of my own. This is not what that is. But she makes some very valid point. For me, the pushing promiscuous behavior. I mean, we had lyrics that grew to "Let me lick you up and down till you say stop."
I'm doing belly roll right now. Belly roll.
Right? Okay. Okay. "I want to do with your body, baby, till you say stop." Whatever nowadays, it's I am inside, booty cheeks spread. I'm up in the middle. I'm riding. I'm licking. I'm sucking. I mean, and it's PUSSY. We are so free with that word. That word makes me cringe, sis. There is a limit to the discretion and the accessibilities. I thought it was a real interesting moment when Cardi B got caught in the kitchen talking about "my wife," tongue all out for the camera. But when her daughter Culture slid around that, "Hi, baby, mommy's Mickey, mommy's doing dishes." What I hope young people heard, saw, and adapted was she don't let her own child listen to the music that she produces. There's a time and a place to be mommy and that WAP freak, if that's what you want to be.
Yep, absolutely.
Now, as seasoned aunties in these streets with music culture, yes, we grew up during the era of Freaknik, baby. We grew up during the era where Bobby Brown was locked up in jail. I was standing in Detroit, Michigan at Joe Louis Arena in Detroit about this time of year, actually. Any Heartbreak Tour was coming. I was in the 8th grade. Do you know who took me to that concert? My father. You know who went with us? My Uncle Marvin and my cousin Jermaine. Do you know that my father, now he had listened to the lyrics and stuff. When they got up and sang If It Wasn't Love, my father looked at me and said, it's never going to be love enough for you to jump off the stage here. I wanted them to pick me so bad.
You can't. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Girl, when Ronnie came to the edge of that stage by me, I told my daddy, grab my ankles and I'm going to stretch out. He said, you will not. When Janet Jackson album Control came out, my good father, yes, he did. That was a good daddy I had, baby. My good daddy took me and 6 of my good girlfriends in the old 98, honey, where you could fit 6 people in the back.
Yes.
With your school books.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we went and stood in the line, sis, at Warehouse Records for Janet Jackson's album to buy Control. And there was only 15 of the mugs that came in that day. Me and my 6 friends, we each got our own copy, complete with McDonald's. Because my daddy took us to school afterwards. He was like, oh, y'all didn't think y'all was going to sit around and listen to it all day. You listen to that after school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Things have changed. There are things that when my daddy told me he like, what is it? He called him Luther. He cannot say ludicrous. But that dang Luther, hey, move out the way. Daddy. And he also liked the damn Yankee. Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I caught him looking at the videos, sis.
Mm-hmm.
No daughter needs to see her father watching these videos, these what used to be the uncut videos. That don't no daughter want to know that her father is into the music videos like that. It's just no.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I remember my father watching a Beyonce video. And this had to be like, he was like 77, 79. He was like, woo, that's one good looking woman right there.
Poppy Love.
What is you talking about? He was like, she's just a little taller than what your mama was. Woo! I was like, what? Don't you be out here besmirching my mama's name. You leave my mama and Beyonce up out of these conversations with me, man. But it's the truth. It is. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of truth. Now, the good sis has a right to her opinion. So, yes. So Sister Tay, I appreciate you sharing your opinion. I'll tell you where she lost me, and then I'll circle back with what I agreed with. When she said that she felt like that there was a homosexuality agenda.
I didn't like that either.
We've heard that. We've heard that from a lot of people. And we understand that homosexuality and sexuality, period, is fluid. And you cannot discredit or discount something just because it isn't you. Mm-hmm. And we both were raised in church, and certainly the messaging even in church has changed. I mean, even the Pope, is like, it's kind of okay if you are on the alphabet lineage of sexuality. But how we grew up was very restrictive, and any type of sexual, whether it's hetero or homo or other or whatever, any expression was stricken down. And so she used the word devil in here in her speech. and this again, this agenda for homosexuality, I don't agree with that at all. I believe that you got to let people manage it however they manage it, and I think that that's been a growth area for a lot of people who had religious backgrounds and religious upbringings, because they were scared that if you did these things that you're gonna, be damned in hell, and these things are against God, and all these other kind of labels that people put on others. And in the words of my good sis Tabitha Brown, that's your business. Do what you do what you're supposed to do for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that, it is not for us to tell you not to do that. But what I will say is that this is a very different time than how we grew up. And although there were songs and movies and all type of media that had sexual content, over sexual content, even innuendo, because we didn't have the internet when we grew up, our parents was able to kind of, monitor what we consumed and restrict that in a way that kept our brains from being exposed to things that we weren't able or capable of digesting. The internet is open information.
Yes, it is.
And all you have to do, and it's not even like you have to go looking for it.
Yes.
If the music that they play on the radio and the music that is in the videos and and even the things on the TikTok, the song Corvette. I don't know if that's the real name.
I don't know
song,
either. I know, but I know what you're talking about.
It's a little ticky-tock dance that they do with that, where the start of it is them yelling beat.
Yes.
And so a lot of the TikToks is the kids with a parent yelling like beat. You know what I'm saying? Corvette. Right. And I've seen little babies
doing it,
doing the TikTok. And I saw one funny parody of a Christian version, which cracked me up. Sis, did you see the Christian version?
No, not yet.
I gotta send you.
You gotta send it to me.
I gotta send you the Christian version. And instead of saying B in the Christian version, the woman says Shabbat. So it's everywhere, sis, and not just overly sexualized and provocative lyrics, and again the crassness of the language. Like, where's the artistry? Like, speak it to me in a way that it gets my mind going. Why you just go right to it? There's no artistry there.
No,
and not just in sexual provocation, but violence. And yes, we grew up in the time of gangster rap and all the rest of those things. But what I believe, like what they were talking about, Snoop Dogg and all the rest of them, I didn't believe a word that they were saying. I was like, well, how? I was thinking like you just was looking for a word to rhyme, and that was the one that you put in, not discounting or discrediting their experience, their lived experience, but I guess it just didn't seem real to me. And there's just so much more realness. Like, we live in such a world that's filled with so many negative things. I heard on The Read, I was listening to an episode of The Read, and I believe Crystal has said that this generation of youth is some of the most anxious humans on the planet. And I have to believe that anxiety stems from information overload and being overstimulated all the time, and being stimulated in ways that your brain is not developmentally prepared for.
Come on.
And so how do we as parents say to, for instance, our 11-year-old, that you're not supposed to have a girlfriend when everything that he consumes makes him think like he has to have money so that he can have a girlfriend.
Yep.
And that without us being like, you gotta be a straight man. Like, we've never talked about gender identity or sexualization with him, but the internet has influenced his perception about what he is supposed to be as a 11-year-old boy. I don't know how do we go back? I don't when you and your children are on TikTok dancing to the same, body roll music. Yes. Like, I just remember, and I think I've told this story in an earlier episode, like in the early days of the Pisces Life. So if you are a longtime listener, you may be familiar with this story where I talked about being in Zaire with my mother, and was in the radio section, and they would have the radios playing the GCI or whatever the tune, and Sheila E.'s Glamorous Life was on. And sis, the video of Glamorous Life, Sheila E. was kind of not in the same lane as like the Vanity Six, but close. And so a little more classy bass, as Funky Dineva would say. And so I call myself right in the middle of one of my, shrug it down and shrug it back up. You don't need the glamorous life. And my mama gave me a glamorous spanking right there in aisle 13. Because she was like, you will not be rolling your kiki like that in the public or any place else, because you are not even supposed to be that familiar with your body. Now, mind you, I understood what she was saying. I think, she could have just told me to stop. Let me just say, everything don't deserve a spanking. She could have just been like, baby girl, stop. You can't be out here rolling your kiki, because the kiki rolls bring the boys to the yard. And I don't want your daddy to hurt them little boys. You know what I mean? Like, we could have had a little conversation about it. It would have been fine. But I surely understand that what the children are doing now is vastly different and way more advanced than what that little role, the Kiki and the Zaire was popping off. So I don't know how I don't know what to do. I don't know how we prevent it. I mean, we need the internet because the internet is part of how we communicate. Right. It's part of how we learn. We're in remote learning and we're remote working. We have to be on the internet.
I know it.
And so I don't know. I don't know what we need a parenting expert to come on and talk to us about this.
Well, we've been somebody's child before, and I'll tell you, this era of music has made me accept my auntie-hood even more. Oh, wow. I'm comfortable with saying it. I don't want to see another person twerk. I'll be glad when this phase of dancing is out. And to your point, we had other things. We had music. Glamorous Life. I wasn't even sure if I was supposed to be listening to that, especially when she said, that last part, where she didn't need love because it ain't much. It ain't much, but you want to lead the glamorous life. Okay, then, we had a talk. I told you before the audience on the long episode, probably the same one, where I got a whooping for singing Mary Jane Girls in My House on the picnic table.
And that's a bop, too. Ooh. In my house. In my house.
I'll be your lover in the morning when you're in at night. Yes. But baby, let me tell you, it was nothing like having those songs that you knew you were forbidden from singing or, listening to. You didn't let your mama know you knew the lyrics. That's where I messed up. I was out on the picnic table in between the clothes hanging up on the line, thinking my grandmother would never see or hear me. Surely I wasn't singing that loud. Somebody came around the corner honking the horn. I sang it. And she was in that back window. And then come the switch. She said, I couldn't believe it. Girl, I swivel my hips at home, sis. I can kill them with a circle. Can't twerk, but I'll kill you with a good old circle, baby.
Yeah. And clearly we've come full circle because Mary Jane Girls, of course, named and the affiliate was Brother Rick James.
Hello.
Who sang on a lot of the backgrounds for the Mary Jane Girls. And Brother Rick James had a little heroin issue. So our parents knew
Coke too.
And Coke. Our parents knew what was going on. That's why they was restricting.
Right. Parliament P-Funk. Get in here. You're not under this groove. Get in here.
Not under them psychedelic drugs that them was brothers and sisters was on.
That was the best concert I've ever seen in my life, though. If you can go see George Clinton and the Parliament Funk, please do it. Everybody should go and see that at least one good time in their life. I've been twice. So girl, it was
so good. I saw them at the Cincinnati Music Fest maybe about 5 years ago. Sis, just the best. I just had the best time at the Cincinnati Music Fest. It was for any fans of live music, good music, and it's a girlfriend's trip. So sis, maybe not this year, because Lord no,
we ain't ready.
We not ready. we not ready. But 2022, sis.
Hey.
Cincinnati Music Fest. Yes.
Girl, we had a good time. I got a chance to see them at their inauguration concert at the Hall of Fame. It was off the chain. The opening acts were so dope. But I sat next to people who clearly did not know where they were going to be. The lady going to say, I think I smell something. I think people, lady.
Oh, wow.
Do you not know where you are and who you done come to see?
Correct.
You gonna be big mad over there in that corner. Baby, she ended up leaving. She didn't want to say, poor thing.
She wasn't ready. She wasn't aware.
No.
She probably only knew Atomic Dog. And she was just like, when Fifi hears Atomic Dog, she just loses it. I love Atomic Dog. It's so rhythmic. It's so rhythmic. I just love it.
I just love it when we get down with this at the bonfire. We tear it up. We really tear it up. But girl, I would laugh real hard when I tell you, sis, appalled at the smells around there. Those who might not have been without, we certainly inhaled very deeply in the crowd because it was all around. If you didn't have your own,
the contact
was, and we were outdoors, baby.
Contact. Yes, it was mystical. It was mystical. It was very mystical.
Spraying it around.
Right. Just you start to question if it's you. Right. Is that me?
What am I really doing?
Am I doing something that I'm not supposed to be? Sis, I miss outside.
Security at the concert, they was like, you know what?
Just we can't
be disrespectful with it. Don't get crazy.
Just don't get crazy with it. Exactly. Because let the people be free. Yes, sis.
I mean, sis, excuse me, but aren't you all having marijuana cigarettes out here?
Right.
Ma'am, yes, the people are. You smell that? Yes, they are.
Yes, and stop it. And just
sit down, please, before you, ma'am. You're outnumbered here.
Exactly.
Now, his crowd does bring some interesting...
It does. It does.
Sis, there was some people that have been on the Parliament Funk One Nation Under the Groove since the groove got started.
Absolutely. Absolutely. they are down with many. What was the fest back in the day that they
Woodstock or Deadheads?
Woodstock. Oh yes, they loved them some George
Baby
Clinton
loved
and
it.
P-Funk. Oh yes, they love it.
Love is love, sister. We're all going back to our hotel. Wish you well on that journey alone, because I shan't join you. This is where my groove stopped, right here in this secured venue.
This might be with nobody. This might be a little too P-funky for me right now, sis. I'm sorry.
Be like, can't do it.
Oh my goodness. Well, no, sis.
Sis, we have had ourselves a good time on this Monday. You hear me?
Yes, we have had us a good time. This has been yet another edition of the Pisces Life. We thank you so much for listening.
Yes.
And y'all are slowly trickling back. People who are responding saying, we didn't know y'all was back.
Right.
Child 2020 just had a veil over us, but we coming back out. We are here. We've been steady. We got these episodes popping. We doing what we do and what we love to do. So thank you for those who continue this journey with us. Share with a friend. I promise you. Give us 3 episodes. Give us 3 episodes, and you're going to be like, we got to listen to them crazy Pisces girl.
Yes.
They so funny. They so informative.
Yes.
They so real. They so helpful.
Yes, we are.
So we thank you. And if you're looking to follow the show, if you're listening, you should already know. But just in case, we are on SoundCloud. We are on Spotify. We are on Apple Podcasts. Everywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast, we are. Just look for us, The Pisces Life. On the Twitter, we are Pisces Podcast, 2 words. And on Instagram and Facebook, we are The Pisces Life. So we would love to hear from you. If you enjoy the show, let us know. We love y'all. We love interacting with y'all. And we getting ready for our project too.
Yes, we are. If you are looking for me, you can find me working on Survivance, honey.
Yes.
I literally had tears the other day in my eyes. It is one thing to conceive of something, to create it and to give birth to it. And then to see that website, sis, I'm proud of us.
Yes.
I am proud of us. You can find us working on Survivance. You can find us still funky fresh out here. We the flyers aunties, y'all gonna know.
The flyers.
The flyers. Okay. We are excited to enter this next chapter. We are, oh my God, we doing it up for 2021. It's about to be some breakthroughs in terms of where we go on the Pisces Life podcast and network. And you're right here with us right now. And we thank you for that. I am JustLetitia at I am just Letitia everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm more active on Twitter. I'm going to just tell you, I'm really good on Twitter. Instagram and I are, we still falls out. Facebook is a lot of my family. Lord bless them. Now, what is it? I clicked on this thing and what? It's a shoe thing. It's a shoe.
Baby, it's you.
Yes, it is. That's exactly who it is. Sis, if they are looking for you, where can they find you?
They can find me scouring these internet streets, finding good stories for us to talk about. You know? Y'all can find me on the Twitter at Kai Loves You, KAILOVESU. I'm also on Instagram. Just add a 2 to that, Kai Loves You too. We are out of here, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
2 fish living in a dream. One swimming up, one swimming downstream. The Pisces life. 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 The Pisces life.